Greetings of the day, my dear friends. This is Chax, once again with another episode of ChaxSimplifies. This episode will focus on the naval action in the Persian Gulf. The Persian Gulf, friends, is probably the most complex region in the world to understand. This region is home, as some claim, to over 60% of the world's hydrocarbons. The Strait of Hormuz provide transit for ships carrying over 30% of the world's hydrocarbons, which is about 31 million barrels a day. 76% of Asia's oil requirement transit the Gulf and the Straits of Hormuz. Very obviously, in this area, there is a great game that is on. The great game is between the Shia and the Sunni. The Sunni led by Saudi Arabia, the Shia by Iran. Each feel they are the protectors of their faith. The GCC is an important player here, with the usual suspects, the United States, Russia, and a new one, China, being a part of this game. Right? There is a great game which is on in the Gulf. So today in this episode, I am going to restrict myself to only the naval action, as I mentioned earlier, which means the two tanker wars. The first tanker war, which was essentially an extension of the war between Iraq and Iran in 1981 to 89, and the second tanker war in 2019. Right? We will talk about the current status and a quick thoughts of what or where is this going to lead us to. This region is very unique in its geography. The entry exit to the Persian Gulf is through the Straits of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is just 22 miles in its width at its narrowest point. Therefore, very easy to block, very easy to sabotage, and very difficult to mount a 24/7 surveillance, despite the technology that one may have. The main villain in the piece, Iran, can conveniently deny anything it does or use the Houthis as its proxies in carrying out attacks. So without much ado, let's jump straight into the first tanker war. In 1979, Iranian revolution took place. The Shah of Iran was deposed. Naturally, US snapped relations with Iran. So did most of the Western world. Iraq thought this was an ideal time for it to attack and achieve its aim of capture of Shatt al-Arab. Attack it did on the 22nd of September 1982 and expected the war to be over in a matter of days. It also calculated that if it attacked shipping in the Gulf, the international pressure would be brought on bear on Iran, and therefore the war would be cut short very quickly. Iraq did exactly that and used the Air Force with its Mirage F-1s, the MiG-23s, and the Super Frelon helicopters armed with exocets. In May 1982, a Turkish oil tanker, Atlas I, was hit loading oil at the Khadag Island, which is in Iran. In 1984, with the French Super-Étendard aircraft, Iraq's reach increased manyfold. And in 1985, a Liberian tanker, Neptuna, was the first tanker to be sunk by an Iraqi exocet. Was Iran keeping quiet? Obviously not. But here its strategy was different. Its strategy was of disruption and harassment. It used mines for the purpose and calculated if it made the costs high for both Iraq and its Gulf neighbors, they would desist from attacking Iranian assets in the Gulf. Iran very obviously had its requirements. It needed this Gulf to be open for its own oil shipments. In 1987, Iranians got the Chinese Silkworm missile, and this qualitatively shifted the balance of power in its favor. The Gulf countries now felt the pressure. So much so that Kuwait actually asked the US to reflag its tankers and escort them out of the Gulf. Ironically, it was an Iraqi exocet that hit USS Stark in May 1987, killing 37 people. This led to the intervention of the US in the Gulf. Totally, Iran attacked about 168 vessels, while Iraq over 260. On 14th April 1987, USS Samuel Roberts struck a mine. It almost sank. Iran denied mining. The USS said it had proof. Proof it did get when it captured Ajr, a Iranian ship loaded with mines on the September 1987. This led to the Operation Praying Mantis on the 18th of April 1987. The US Navy attacked Iran with force. It crippled two Iranian oil rigs. It sank a frigate, Sanand, with 45 crew members. It sank a gunboat with 11 crew members and 3 speedboats. It crippled Sabalan, another frigate, and it damaged a Phantom fighter jet of Iran. Iran realized it could not sustain and sued for peace in 1989. The Western objective of keeping the Straits of Hormuz open was met. However, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard commenced investing in capabilities that it could effectively manage and control the Straits of Hormuz. This situation of stalemate or near stalemate continued till about 2019. Right. In 2008, on the 8th of May 2018, the United States withdrew from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. This is essentially the Iranian nuclear deal, and it reimposed sanctions on Iran. Well, Iran at this point realized that its great geopolitical tool of oil and the price of oil was no longer so great. Well, because of sanctions and the fear of the US, countries like China, India, Japan started looking at alternative sources of oil. The Iranian oil fields being old and mature, Iran realized that it needed investments. These investments would come only if the price of oil went up. Therefore, Iran has a motive to disrupt oil supplies to the world. Now, on the 12th of May 2019, 4 merchant ships were damaged. 5 to 10 feet holes were found on them, and it is believed this happened because of limpet mines. These ships were in Fajira, which is in the UAE's territorial waters. Iran denied. In May 2019, Houthis, which are the proxies of Iran, attacked a Saudi oil pipeline in Yanbu. The US obviously responded and responded in force, dispatching the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Force and B 52 bombers to the Gulf. On the 13th of June, two oil tankers were attacked near the Straits of Hormuz by limpet mines. Some say flying objects, some also say torpedoes, but limpet mines it probably was. Iran was blamed, but as always, denied. On the 20th of June, Iran shot down a Global Hawk surveillance drone of the United States. It claimed the drone was in its territorial waters. The US denied. Therefore, on 24th of June, US imposed fresh sanctions. On the 18th of July, USS Boxer jammed an Iranian drone, causing it to crash. The next few months brought in very interesting developments with respect to tankers. On the 4th of July 2019, Royal Marines boarded an Iranian oil tanker Grace 1 by helicopter off Gibraltar to ensure the sanctions imposed were enforced. Iran retaliated by impeding the passage of a British petroleum tanker, British Heritage, but was nipped by HMS Montrose, a Royal Navy frigate, which intervened. But on 20th of July, the UK flagged Stena Impero was seized by Iranian flotilla with a Iranian Mi-17 gunship. Right? On the 4th of August, Iranian Revolutionary Guards also seized an Iraqi tanker. To de-escalate this whole situation, Gibraltar released Grace 1 on the 15th of August. Iran magnanimously did the same with Stena Impero on the 21st of September. This led to the formation of the International Maritime Security Construct and what is called as the Operational Sentinel. This is a multinational maritime effort spearheaded by the United States to ensure the Gulf and the Straits of Hormuz are free. Obviously, led by the United States, it roped in Bahrain, the United Kingdom, Australia, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE as its partners, and Israel gave the intelligence inputs as required. So where does this take us? I believe there is a new bloc, or there could be a new bloc in the making of countries which are affected the most by US sanctions: Iran, Turkey, Russia, and China. Iran is trying its best to move its oil through pipelines with Chinese help. Military relations between China and Iran are on the rise, which probably indicate to this fact, and we will see more innovative uses of low technology against high tech to give it a symmetric advantage. You can already witness the use of armed drones, whether on air or on surface of water, the use of fast attack craft, suicide attacks with fast attack craft filled with explosives, which are happening. Where does this move to? This, gentlemen, is food for thought. That's all for this episode. Many thanks for hearing me out, and join me again for a new episode next week for ChaxSimplifies. As always, comment, share, and give me your feedback. Thank you very much. Have a great day.